Redditor exposes big meat's propaganda machine. At least that's what it looks like at first, but as you're going to learn in this video, this story goes a bit deeper. So first of all, what happened? The vegan world is ablaze with a sense of victory because there was an AMA where someone claimed that they worked for the meat industry to discredit veganism on the internet. A lot of people sent me this, and when I first saw it, I was so excited because if you saw my last video, then you know it talks about the ways the meat industry does this, the types of propaganda they use, the online coordination, and analyzes it. And everything this guy said in the AMA was very much in line with those tactics. So we'll start by going through a few of the things he said, some of the responses, and then we'll get to my private conversation that I had with him a few days ago, why it makes me really skeptical, and what we can learn about trusting people online or not doing that. So let's get right into it. For a year, I worked for a meat industry trade group. I won't say which one, but they are US based. My job was to go on sites like this and discredit veganism. It was pretty gross. I knew it. I did it anyway. The pay wasn't worth it. I signed an NDA as well, so I will only be able to answer questions in general terms. But I do warn you, don't believe that everyone is who they say they are online. By discrediting vegans, did you only pretend to be a vegan and have health issues, or did you also make pro-meat accounts and discredit vegan arguments openly on X or Reddit? How many accounts are out there do you think to exist to discredit or shift public perception? Ooh, yes, we'd make up some doozies. We'd get a list of nutrients that are certainly available on vegan diets but not as plentiful, and we'd go to town. Sometimes we'd debate vegans openly. We had many accounts. How many accounts are there? I'd say half the accounts on certain Reddit subs about this topic are not genuine. So this is 100% something that happens. I mean, how many accounts are out there of people claiming they were vegan and showing some horrible picture where they all have a bunch of acne and look like they're about to die, and then they show this total glow up and they're like, oh, I'm on the carnivore diet, even though there's a lot of good scientific evidence for vegan diets and absolutely zero for the carnivore diet. So it really is something the meat industry does make up. We know that. So I think that's why so many vegans are quick to believe this AMA, because it confirms something that we already know is happening. I am in no way surprised. What was the message that the meat industry is trying to suppress? Or is it related to health of people who eat beef or the health of the cows? It was multifaceted. Discredit veganism on nutritional grounds, argue some meat production is sustainable, argue that animals are harmed by all sorts of things, so why not eat them? We definitely cherry-picked data and made claims we knew that were false. The crop deaths issue was a big one. We would embellish the heck out of that because there are no studies that could say one way or another how many mice in a soy field, and most people don't think, oh wait, more crops are grown so we can feed animals. Once again, this points to him doing this work a few years ago, because crop deaths right now hasn't been coming up nearly as much as it did, say, 2 or 3 years ago. So when I talk about my private conversation with him, you're going to see how this timeline doesn't make any sense at all. How do we know you aren't a vegan making all this up to discredit big beef? You don't. That's part of my point. Be skeptical of everything online and consider sources. Are they credible? You have every right to be skeptical of me. If you're skeptical of me and others, then I have done my service in making people smarter and better protected from scams and frauds. So he's basically laying out his motivation right there. He's not saying, oh, you should definitely believe me because I was for sure a meat industry shill, here's some evidence, here's pay stubs, whatever. He's saying, don't believe me at all, actually. This is just to make you smarter about what you read online. And I really do believe that that is what this person's intention is, although it could be more nefarious, which we can talk about how it could harm the vegan community in a little bit. He goes on to say that he thinks the meat industry wasted a bunch of money because veganism is never going to be a real threat at about 1 to 2% of the population. And obviously I disagree. I think we could grow a lot as a movement. I would hope so. But with nefarious actors like this, if he's telling the truth, that does make it harder. He said he would also go into vegan subreddits pretending to be a vegan and be one of the more extreme ones to drive away the moderates. Now that's really interesting to me because I know a lot of pretty extreme vegans and I think they're genuine. Maybe they're not. Seems like they are. They seem like the most genuine. But then there's also this other subset of vegans that people in the vegan movement do think are paid by the meat industry. And obviously it's impossible to know. How are we going to find out, especially if they have these NDAs like OP is saying? All right, let's talk about why I think this is all a load of bullshit, and it has to do with a Reddit post that I saw a few days ago. This post has since been deleted, but someone did send me a screenshot of it. I've been a vegan activist for about 20-ish years. I'm starting to think anti-vegans are right. Or maybe I'm just disillusioned with how toxic the vegan community has become. Either way, I have had a few gummies and some red wine, and am willing to spill all. Ask a disillusioned vegan anything. Oh, and in the past, I've debated many of you on my 2 old accounts. So that happened 3 days ago. He was claiming to be a vegan who was thinking about going ex-vegan. So I saw that post and I read it as a cry for help. I thought that this person was genuine. So I reached out. I said, hey, I saw your thread on anti-vegan and just wanted to check in. I hope that toxicity in the vegan movement won't alienate you from the animals. And then they said something about how they'd always be against factory farms. And I said, I hope so, but Alex O'Connor has said that, and now he's willing to sell leather wallets from factory farms. Now, this part is really interesting because Alex O'Connor came up in the meat industry expose, AMA, and OP claimed that he actually amplified Alex O'Connor going ex-vegan at the time. So he was aware of Alex O'Connor then, but in my private conversation with him now, he doesn't know who Alex O'Connor is. That's pretty weird. And I'm not going to go through the whole conversation, but at one point I asked him to donate to Pro Animal Future. And I'm going to ask you to do the same because throughout all of December, we are doing a monthly donation match. So if you join for, say, $50 a month, that will be matched and it will be $100 a month. You will also get a phone call from yours truly if you donate more than $30 a month. So would love to talk to you. And then he asked me a question, which if someone were trying to discredit vegan diets, definitely sounds like something they would ask. He said, do you ever secretly consider not being vegan? I won't tell if you have. And I said, honestly, I really like being vegan, but it's only been 5 years. And by that, I meant that a lot of times people who have been vegan for a while may get disillusioned. They may think things are not changing as much or may just not want to deal with the social implications of it. I did not mean to imply that I was worried about the health aspect, but that's how he takes it. He says, you secretly realize it's hard long-term to be healthy. That's good, smiley face. And I said, no, that's not what I meant. He said, gotcha. And then he stopped talking to me. So I sent him a few messages after that, asking to interview him, asking about this thread with Big Meat. And, he hasn't responded. So I think that proves to me that this is all complete bullshit, because why would he be pretending to be a vegan 3 days ago when he's talking about in the AMA how he was doing this stuff when bots weren't as sophisticated, which implies longer than 3 days ago. And the whole post is about how you should be skeptical of people online. So vegans, please stop falling for this. But I am curious what you think. Do you think that this guy really did work for Big Meat and maybe he just kind of messed up the timeline? Do you think it's all a big psyop to make us not trust in each other because vegans could see that and think, oh, if there's like a vegan saying something I disagree with, they're actually a Big Meat shill. And then it could become this whole witch hunt, which would obviously make us less effective. So let me know what you think down below. Remember not to believe everything you see on Reddit. Please donate to Pro Animal Future, and I will see you next time.